how shiny my face is. It is very, very hot. In the UK, it is very hot. So I will keep, hopefully, the sweating to a minimum, but yeah, I'm going to be looking over this way. I had to make notes because I felt very passionately about this. So yeah, if that sounds good to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so just something to note. This movie will end up, I believe, being the most successful opening weekend at box office ever. I think when I'm recording this video, I think it's on track to do $1.4 billion worldwide. Insane. I think the only other film that actually is more successful is Endgame. I think that's right. But I want to go through some of the cast because this movie has a stacked cast and they all deserve a shout out, but I'm going to go through my favourites. Obviously, Tom Holland. He is incredible. I think he's really building his case for being one of probably the best Spider-Man of all time. And as a Tobey Maguire fanboy, that kind of hurts to say, but I think he's youthful, he's passionate. You can tell that he loves this role, and you can tell that it means a lot to him. So it comes across really well on screen. This film touches on some very emotional topics. Some that, I saw people crying when I went to see the film, and if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, then I don't know what does. But yeah, Zendaya and Tom Holland, their chemistry on screen is absolutely amazing. It is probably the best film that they've done together, I would say. Definitely Tom Holland's best Spider-Man out of the four that he's done, and obviously he's in all of the Infinity War and Endgame and like Civil War and stuff, but this is his best film by far. I think Zendaya also nailed her role. She was absolutely amazing. I think her as MJ is, at first I wasn't too sure, when she was first announced as MJ, but then in this film they have kind of made her really stand out. I think after the events from Tom Holland's previous film, which if you've not seen that, click off this video because this might spoil it a little bit, but after the last events he kind of, seeing them be together for 3 films, and then now it's like completely different. It really does kind of like, it really hits home, and it's like, it's really gut-wrenching to see that dynamic completely flipped. But that's not a spoiler. I think everyone can guess, like, things aren't going to be the same, because after the last film, he had to make everyone forget. I think, if you remember, he said that he would go and find Ned and Zendaya, or MJ, and, that kind of touches on it in this film, but that's all I'll say. But speaking of Ned, he is incredibly funny, but at the same time he's one of them actors where he can do both. He's very funny, but also at the same time, like, he's more than comedic relief in this film. I feel like it explores a bit more of the depth of his character and his relationship with Peter and with MJ and how their lives have gone on, and it touches on things that they always spoke about doing when this was pre-Peter, sort of wanting them to get the memory wiped and stuff. So seeing it go on kind of like without him, again, not a spoiler, you can see this in the trailer. he's had such a great run, but I think he's been his best in this film. But yeah, it's, as a viewer, there's so many different scenes where you think, oh my god, like I really wish that that this could happen, or you know, you really wish that things were happening differently, and you know, it's very emotional. It's the most emotional Spider-Man film that I've ever watched. But then again, like, depending on what you like in films, that could be good or bad. Next, John Bernthal as Frank Castle, or the Punisher. He was incredibly funny. I think he offered a lot of comedic relief, but at the same time, he plays the Punisher so well that even when it was just him being funny, it didn't take away from the character or from what he was trying to do. His relationship with Peter is so heartwarming, and it is so what am I trying to say? It's a really nice way for the Punisher to be tied into these films and the MCU more as a whole. He's honestly he was one of my favourite characters in this film, without a doubt. He just added so much. And then finally, I'm so happy to say this, that Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk was actually well represented. For fucking, excuse my language, but it's about time. It is about time. You know, we had all those things where in the previous films, like, he couldn't turn into Hulk, and he was just getting like smashed by people that should not even hold a candle to the Incredible Hulk. But this film, it was like being back in 2003 and 2008 with just, you could tell his power, he was scary, he was huge on screen, like, it was absolutely phenomenal. And with all these new effects and, you know, how graphics are improving over time, like, this Hulk was jacked. Like, it was one of the best versions of the Hulk that I've seen, under Mark Ruffalo especially, but in general. Like, you could tell that he lost control, and that is what the Hulk is. You know, not everyone should be able to, like, beat him in a fight or calm him down and, like, speak to him and get through to him, because that's not how it works. But he was fantastic. He was a big scary monster, and again, you see this in the trailer, but he actually looked like intimidating. And he's not walking around in a sweatshirt. Like, I hate it when he did that. I know it's controversial maybe to some people, but I really hated when he did that. Hulk is okay. Like, Bruce Banner is smart. The Hulk is a vicious, gamma radiation powered, destroying machine. He shouldn't be walking around with glasses and little knitted vests on teaching physics. It's stupid. Anyway, that's my little rant over Florence Pugh. She was fantastic. I wish she had a little more screen time. They kind of used her to point Peter into the right directions to get information and stuff. So I feel like she fulfilled a purpose, for sure. But she was a bit of comic relief. It was very, like, dry humour. She kind of bantered with some of the other characters who they know of her but have never spoken is like, and he was played by, I forget his name, but the guy from Severance. He was absolutely insane. He was phenomenal. Like, he was one of the best performances in the film. But he did such a great job. He really did, all throughout the film. Sadie Sink, incredible. So she had such a massive impact to Jean Grey, and really sort of played into the fact that you can feel bad for her, and you can understand why she does what she does, and why she's so sort of hell bent on what she wants to achieve, which is all I'll say. But then at the same time, like, she's a villain. Like, she is like, it's a very interesting dynamic. But I think she does such a great job. But she is one of the most powerful mutants, especially with her telekinesis. But she's an amazing character. She really is. And the way that she interacts with SpiderMan and just the environment in the scenes, it adds that dynamic where you feel like anything can happen, and it really adds that edge to the whole film. But yeah, I think if you can't tell, I love this film. I think the whole cast was incredible. It had that more classic Peter Parker storyline. It had some comic book accuracy, which, you know, you'll see in the trailer anyway. But I won't go too much into that anyway, because there's more to it than that. The visual effects and all of the graphics were amazing. It adds a lot to the fighting, and a lot to, I guess, just the appearance of the characters on the screen. It added so much. But it's a brilliant picture with a lot of deep themes. It touches on sort of friendship, family, love, abandonment, fear. It is just, I think it is the best Marvel film that you will watch probably in the last sort of decade. I mean, if you're talking about series, I think Loki's the best thing they've ever done. But this film, I believe, is the best thing they've made in the last 10 years. And I don't say that